The way to become an expert in one thing is to figure out a way to break it into small pieces and practice every single one of these pieces for many, many hours. There's this thing called the 10,000 hour rules, which a lot of people follow, and it's a good kind of rule of thumb, but it's worth noting that even 10,000 hours, to the extent that that is true, it's only true if what you're counting is deliberate practice. It's not just playing soccer for 10,000 hours, therefore I'll be a great soccer player. That is not true. There are a lot of people who play soccer for 10,000 hours and never become that good. But if you practice kicking for 2,000 hours and dribbling for 2,000 hours and maybe shooting penalties for 500 hours and maybe running into space and figuring out how to make yourself available to receive a pass for 1,000 hours, and you really practice each of these skills in a deliberate way without the fun of playing, but just being focused on the skill, then you will likely get good, unless you're just not built to do this particular thing. And you have to understand that if you have no pitch, there's no amount of hours that will help you become a musician, right? You need to have a certain prerequisite level of talent, maybe not very high, but you cannot just be completely incompetent at this, right? There's probably no amount of hours that will make me a good basketball player because I'm only 6'2", and most basketball players are taller. So you have to understand what things you are able to do to begin with. But once you've cleared the bar, then it's just break it into pieces, practice each of them in a deliberate way for as much as you can. So not many people know this about me, but before founding a couple of companies, I was first an operational consultant, and I essentially helped various companies in the US build cameras into things. Now, I'm not sure the world needs more cameras, but that's what I did for a living. Now, when you're in that world, you have to understand two things. First of all, the money you make is just a reflection of how much value you deliver to somebody. So you don't try to maximize money. You try to maximize the things that you can do for others that nobody else can, or that would cost them more otherwise. If you're able to do that, you can basically charge anything. And so you don't have to negotiate your fees, etc. Your fees just become something that is almost a no-brainer for them. If they have to hire a team of 50 people to replace you, then chances are they will pay you whatever you want to be paid. Now, once you figure that part out, you have to also ask the question, what can I offer that nobody else can, or that is very hard to replace? And here, and especially this is true in consulting, it actually pays to have an unusual or weird combination of skills. And so in my particular case, I had a good understanding of cameras. I had a good understanding of the supply chain of cameras. I had a good understanding of software and how to build it in general. I had a good understanding of software that runs specifically on processors and on systems on chip that are used in cameras. So you combine all of these together, and it essentially allowed me to go into any, let's say, robotics project that wanted a camera to provide better input for their computer vision team so that the robot can operate well in the world. And I could really talk to the computer vision team because I understood what they wanted. I could talk to the hardware guys because I understood what they wanted. I could architect the systems. I knew every single supplier that could make this thing or make different parts of this thing. And then I had an operational understanding of how to manage the supply chain and how to do program management for all of them. Now, each one of these, I was probably not the best at, and you don't have to be the best at. It's just that this particular combination just happened to be very rare. I could think of maybe one other guy in the market with that particular combination of skills, and we had slightly different focuses, which is how we ended up segmenting that market. So if you want to make money in this kind of technical consulting, I would try to figure out what is the combination of skills that is unusual that you could offer and no one else can. If you're able to do that, and if that delivers a lot of value to the clients, then you are able to charge a lot of money for something that isn't really more complex than a regular engineer's job.